Hello, friends of Sudoku, and welcome to yet another expert Sudoku from the newspaper El País. The first thing I always do is I let my eyes roam freely across the grid to see if something obvious jumps out at me, and indeed, something does jump out at me today. We have a couple of fives blocking these squares, and there's 5 blocks across here, so this is a 5, isn't it? And there is another 5 in the top right corner, because this 5 blocks up here and this 5 blocks across here. So here's a 5. And I think that is we have another 5 here, because these two 5s block these 5 squares, right? So here's a 5. And that is as far as we can take the 5s now. But we have a built-in 1, easy to find, because this 1 blocks up here. One of these is a 1 blocking across. This 1 blocks across. These two 1s block here and here. So the top left corner is reserved for a 1 today. And we also have a 2, and that goes here. These 2s block here and here. This 2 blocks here. So here's a 2. And now we know that one of these must be a 2, and we know this because these 2s block here and here. These 2s block here and here. So, and this 2, of course, blocks here. So the only 2 squares left where we can place a 2 in row 2 are these 2 squares. Let's see if anything else that easy pops up. Only 3 squares missing here in the bottom left box, and they must be a 9, 6, and a 3. And yes, we can place a 9 here because we have a 3 and a 6 blocking here. Here now a 3 and a 6, and the 6 blocks over, therefore a 3 goes here and a 6 goes here. Now it is clear that this must be a 3 because we have these 2 3s blocking here and here, and therefore the only place for a 3 in the first column is here, giving me a 4 and an 8 for these 2 positions, and the 4 blocks over, therefore the 4 must go here and the 8 must go here. Again, only 3 squares left in a row, and they must be a 7, 2, and a 6. I don't know what to do with that at the moment. What I do know, however, is that we can place a 2. These 2s block these squares, so a 2 goes here. And since this 2 therefore blocks across and this 2 blocks up, we know that this is a 2, and these therefore must be a 6 and a 7, and those are easy because the 7 forces the 6 to go here. Here is a 7. Another set of 3 empty squares, this time in a box, and they must be a 3, 6, and a 9. We have a 3 blocking up, therefore a 3 goes here. We have a 6 and a 9 here. And here, obviously, a 9 and a 7. We have an 8 blocking over, and we have an 8 blocking up. Here's an 8. These were 6 and 9, therefore this must be the 4. Another set of 3 empty squares. They must be a 5, 8, and a 9. We have a 9 and an 8 blocking here, so here's a 5. This 5 blocks up, this 5 blocks down, this 5 blocks over, here's a 5. Now we need a 5 for box 9. These 5s block here and here and here. This 5 blocks here. Ergo, the 5 goes here. 8 and 9. Here now, we have a 4 blocking down here and a 4 blocking over here. One of these is going to be a 4 blocking up. 4 blocks down, 4 blocks over. We know that one of these must be a 4. 1, 2, 8, and a 9 for these positions. The 1 and the 2 block over, so this is an 8 or a 9. So we find ourselves with a possible 2 here and here. Those are the only two squares that can be a 2 in column 7. We can place an 8 in the bottom suit. This 8 blocks up here. Therefore, one of these is an 8 blocking down. This 8 blocks over. So here's an 8. We now have two 8s blocking across. Therefore, this is an 8. And we do remember, I guess, that the other number in the row has got to be a 9 now. Here we are looking for a 7 and a 4 still. But we can place an 8 here. That's easy enough because we have these two 8s blocking these 6 squares and we have this 8 blocking up here. So here's an 8. A 4, 7, and a 9 across here now. That's not so easy. We will have a 7 in one of these two positions because the 7 blocks here, right? But that's not particularly helpful. I'm interested in column 6 because it has a peculiar set of attributes. I'm looking at this square here. It can only be a 4 or a 7 because we need a 4, 7, 9 across here. Agreed? So this is a 4, 7. Now let me look up here. We also have 9s and 7s and 4s sprinkled everywhere. So let's look at this square here. It cannot be a 1, 2, 3. It could be a 4, not a 5. It could be a 6, not a 7. And not an 8, 9. So this is a 4, 6. Remember, this is a 4, 7. Now let's look at this square. It cannot be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be a 6, 7, not an 8 or a 9. So if we take these squares out of the equation, because they must be a 4, 6, and a 7, that means that these squares must be a 1 and a 3. And I think we can agree on that. And that has a particular ramification for the 6s. Let me explain. If this is a 1, 3, and this is a 4, 7, and this is a 1, 3, then it follows that a 6 must go either here or here. This virtual 6 or ghost 6 blocks down. This 6 blocks over. This 6 blocks up. So a 6 must go here. Now we have a couple of 6s blocking across and one 6 blocking up and one blocking down. That gives us a 6 here. Let's see if that helps any. What, for example, does it do to column 9? It still leaves us to find a 1, 9, and a 7. And we're still stuck with having to find those. By finding this 6 here, doesn't that do something to my box number 5? So we need a 9 here or here, we need a 7 here or here, and a 4 anywhere. But now that this square cannot be a 3, and we have a 3 blocking down and a 3 blocking across, we know that this must be a 3. We now have two 3s blocking here and this 3 blocking here. So another 3 goes here. These 3s block these squares. This 3 blocks over here. So here's a 3. Now 1, 7, and a 4 for these squares. 1, 7, 4. Why is it still not possible? So I guess I'll have to look elsewhere. Finding the 6 and the 3 here, did that do anything to the right suit? Yes, it did, because now this can't be a 2. We have a 2 blocking up. We have got these 2s blocking here, so here's a 2. And now these 2s block these 2 important squares, and this 2 blocks this square, so here's a 2. And I think we are slowly getting there, because we have two 8s blocking these squares. So here's an 8, and this 8 blocks across, this 8 blocks up. So yes, we are cooking now. Here's an 8. 4 and 7 for these two positions. The 7 puts a 4 here, and a 7 must go here. Now a 1 and a 4 for these two squares, and therefore a 7 and a 9 for these. That leaves a 4, and it must go here. A 7 and a 6 here. 7 forces the 6 here, and the 7 must go here. 6 blocks over. Here's a 6, and here is a 9. These must be a 1 and a 9. They will have to wait, I think, yes. And these must be a 9 and a 7. So let's instead look down here. We need to find a 1, 4, and a 9. 4 goes here or here. A 1, 4, 7, 9 across here as well. 1, 4, this is 7, 9. This looks strange in some weird way. But we need a 1 and a 4 for these two squares. That's a given. And the 1 blocks over, giving me this 4 and this 1. And now that we know that this is a 4, and we have this 4 blocking over, this blocking up, and this blocking over, here's another 4, 1 and a 9 here. The 1 blocks over, giving me this 9 and this 1 and this 9, which forces a 9 to go here, and here must go a 7. That gives us a 7 here and a 1 here. This 1 blocks across, so does this. Here's a 1. This must be a 9, and this must be a 7, which blocks here, giving me a 7 here, and the last and final 9 goes here. Not a particularly interesting puzzle, I'm afraid, just a little bit of work, and that's it. But we solved it, and that's it. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.